Alberta teachers are ordered back to work.
Our intention is to pass this legislation immediately.
A deal they already rejected, and class sizes remain the same. What will teachers do now? Plus, food insecurity soars.
At a certain point, this is going to break. We can't continue to support this number of people as a society.
Record increases in the number of Calgarians needing help. And the growing popularity of going slow.
We have conventions and we have stores just for calligraphy supplies.
Celebrating an ancient art form that is both beautiful and therapeutic.
I felt like I found my people.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. We begin with breaking news tonight. The province is dropping the hammer on teachers and stirring up major controversy. Just moments ago, the government introduced legislation ordering teachers back to work after the NDP delayed the introduction of the bill this afternoon. Premier Daniel Smith wants it passed quickly, but the move may court even more Labour unrest. Kevin Green reports.
Premier Daniel Smith says the teacher strike has gone on long enough.
I know this has been an incredibly difficult start to the school year for students who've already experienced too many disruptions in their educational journeys. It has also been challenging for teachers who we all know want to be in the classroom doing what they love.
Those teachers are being ordered back to work. The government is using the notwithstanding clause to override teachers' right to collective bargaining.
The Premier often calls herself the most freedom-loving politician in Canada. And in the throne speech, we heard that she's making Alberta the freest jurisdiction in the country. You cannot do that while you're systematically stripping away people's rights. And sadly, that's what she's doing.
Additionally, there will be no mediation or arbitration. The province is imposing an agreement, the same agreement teachers rejected by almost 90% in September. If they don't head back to work, teachers face stiff fines.
With penalties of up to $500 a day for individuals participating in a legal strike action and up to $500,000 a day for organizations.
This is only the second time the province has ever invoked the notwithstanding clause and the first to end a labour action, but it's something constitutional experts expect to see more of.
I expect to see the notwithstanding clause used in labour negotiations where provincial governments expect the right to strike to be used in a strategic way against them.
Teachers are expected to be back in class Wednesday, ready to pick up where they left off. Calgarians we spoke to oppose the province forcing an end to negotiations.
Forcing them to accept a contract that they know, the province knows is not potentially good is just a mistake, I think.
I think parents and grandparents should stand up and start marching on the legislature and bind together and say, okay, well, you know what, Mr. Premier, if you don't want to listen to the teachers, how about you listen to the parents and the grandparents?
And Kevin joins us now. Okay, Kevin, kids have been out for a while, so how are schools going to make up this lost educational time that students will need to recover as a result of this strike?
That's unclear at this point, Tara. The Premier says she wants kids back in class on Wednesday morning, teachers ready to teach then, but the province doesn't have a plan for how they'll make up any of that lost educational time. Instead, the Education Minister said that should be done by the individual school boards. Well, both of the school boards here in Calgary have just come through elections, so they haven't even had their first meetings since the election. The Calgary Catholic Board has one that was previously scheduled, an organizational meeting for this Wednesday. The Calgary Public School Board hasn't got a meeting on its agenda yet for its first get-together after the election, and this is a big issue for them to have to deal with. Back to you.
Okay, Kevin, thank you. Well, the leader of Alberta's largest labour group says a province-wide general strike is actively under consideration. Sean Fournette is following the reaction for us tonight. And Sean, the leader of the Alberta Federation of Labour, spoke just a short time ago.
Tara, Gil McGowan says if the UCP government invokes the notwithstanding clause as they plan to override court challenges as part of this back-to-work legislation, it would be unprecedented in Canadian history. And he says other unions are prepared to have an unprecedented response. McGowan is president of the AFL and chair of the Common Front, a group of even more unions. He says they will meet tomorrow morning to decide how to respond, with a news conference likely scheduled for Wednesday to announce measures to the public. McGowan says other unions are firmly on the side of teachers.
With these fines, the government is
clearly trying to bully the teachers into compliance. They're trying to threaten them with bankruptcy as individuals. They're threatening the financial viability of the Alberta Teachers Association as an institution. But I just want to make it really clear that if the government puts a gun to the head of the teachers and they're not able to continue their strike, then we in the broader labor movement will stand where they're not able to.
So to reiterate, McGowan says a general strike has not been ruled out and remains an option under consideration. The Alberta Federation of Labour is an umbrella group representing 24 unions in the public and private sector that includes 175,000 Alberta workers. The Common Front includes 400,000 workers. Tara?
Okay, Sean, thank you. A recount of votes for the mayor's chair continues in the Big Four building. It began at 9:30 this morning. Sonia Sharp formally requested a recount because there are just 581 votes between her and current mayor-elect Jeremy Farkas. Any recount will have to be done before noon on Wednesday, but Sharp's team is preparing for the possibility of a judicial recount should it come to that. The new mayor and council will be sworn in Wednesday night. Organizers of the Forever Canadian petition will be dropping off boxes of signatures tomorrow. The forms are filled with names of Albertans who support remaining in Canada. The grassroots movement has had 90 days to collect just under 300,000 signatures. Forever Canadian organizers will reveal their grand total tomorrow morning. Alberta's chief electoral officer has a month to then certify the results. Food Bank Canada is warning of a growing crisis across the country after releasing its 2025 hunger count. Visits have doubled to food banks since 2019. And in Calgary, we're seeing a rise of employed individuals and retirees who've never faced food insecurity before, now needing help. Here's Tyler Barrow.
In 2019, the Calgary Food Bank would distribute 200 food hampers a day. Now it's doing 800.
We are seeing record increases in the number of individuals who are relying on food banks as a source of food for their families.
And it's being felt across the country. Food Banks Canada has released its 2025 hunger count. Monthly food bank visits have doubled since 2019. In Alberta, over 210,000 people visit the food bank each month, while nearly 76,000 are children. A growing number the Calgary Food Bank is seeing, seniors.
68% of senior citizens who use the Calgary Food Bank had never faced food insecurity prior to retirement.
73-year-old Dan LaPlante has never needed to use the food bank, but he knows the struggle many of his friends face on a fixed income with rising inflation.
When you're trying to budget and you see the prices go up, you got to look at where you're going to cut.
Students are also hungry. At Mount Royal University, the Student Association has doubled its weekly refill of its satellite food care cupboards this year to supply students with free groceries.
A student facing hunger is a student that is not able to focus on their academic work, that is not able to focus on their careers.
At U of C, students are also facing food insecurity, while many also battle a high youth unemployment rate of nearly 15%, according to Statistics Canada.
Students are struggling to find work, and then they don't have an income, so they're unable to afford a meal, so they will try to skip a meal.
Even for those employed, it's tough. The Calgary Food Bank found 27% of their clients work full-time.
But one can't help but think this is not sustainable. We have seen increases in need for service across the board for 5 years.
And Tyler joins us from the Calgary Food Bank tonight. So Tyler, what do food banks need, of course, beyond donations?
Tara, Canada Food Banks wants the EI system modernized along with repairing Canada's outdated social safety net, including enhancing the Canada Disability Benefit. It also says affordability needs to be improved, and it wants northern food insecurity addressed by reforming existing programs and partnerships with Indigenous and northern communities. Tara?
Okay, Tyler, thank you. More than 204,000 Canadians are working in the energy industry right now. The majority are here in Alberta. Acquisitions, mergers, and downsizing are taking place frequently, but even job losses announced last week at ConocoPhillips aren't dampening the spirits of energy experts. Instead, there is a sense of optimism about where the sector is headed. Tyson Fedor explains.
Canada's usually booming energy sector is shrinking. In September, the country counted 204,200 energy workers, but that was down about 500 jobs from August, according to Statistics Canada. And year over year, compared to 2024, employment in the sector was down nearly 5%, or about 10,500 jobs. But new pipelines could turn the tide.
Alberta or Saskatchewan has got good pipeline exposure and transportation exposure to east and west coast, then Canada's future is very bright.
But for now, the job losses appear to be piling up. Last week, U.S.-based ConocoPhillips announced it would be laying off staff in Calgary to be more efficient with the resources it has. 950 employees work for the company in Canada.
I've been in this industry, for 40 plus years, and I was with industry before I switched to academia in Australia in 2002. I have seen these cycles. So Conoco moving out is not necessarily a bad news for Canada. When one door closes, two doors opens.
The sector did see major growth last month in refining and pipelines with more than 11,000 jobs added. American company Sunoco is wrapping up a deal to buy Calgary-based Parkland for more than $12.5 billion Canadian this Friday.
I think initially there were some concerns that we're letting an American company come in and acquire possibly strategic assets of the Burnaby refinery and some of the gas stations that we have here. But there were commitments made by Sunoco in a way that they would maintain investment in the refinery and also maintain the headquarters and jobs in Calgary.
And amid a frosty relationship with the U.S., experts saying this deal will only help attract more international stakeholders seeking a piece of the energy pie in Canada.
A U.S. company is coming in and being able to purchase a Canadian company with a relatively smooth approval process. I think this bodes well for foreign investment.
Cenovus Energy's takeover of MEG Energy also appears poised to win shareholder approval later this week. Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
And we reached out to Alberta's energy minister for comment, but we did not receive a response.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
It does feel a little bit more like an October day out there. Danielle joins us now. We have been pretty spoiled lately, I have to say.
We have been. I mean, we hit 20 on Friday, and it's not 20 out here right now, that's for sure. And just to forecast a ways down to give you an idea, what we're at right now with mainly cloudy skies, a little bit on the breezy side, and around that 7-degree mark, this is what you can expect for Halloween Day. So I will keep you posted as we get closer to Halloween, of course. At this point, we were sitting at 6 at the airport. The winds have been picking up, so we're looking at gusts up to 50 kilometers per hour on and off for the next couple of hours until things quiet down for the night. Key things for tomorrow, it will feel more like -5, -6 with that wind chill at 8 a.m., so a cold start to the day, absolutely, and a high of 9 expected in the afternoon with calmer winds tomorrow and lots of sunshine. Your full forecast just ahead, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. The 2026 Calgary Stampede First Nations Princess was crowned this weekend.
Reagan, first rider.
19-year-old Reagan First Rider is from Kainai Nation. First Rider is one of 7 contestants and says she's been inspired by all of the past princesses and is proud and honored to have been selected. She plans to spend her reign being a voice for her people and advocating for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls.
Just want to be able to be a voice for my people, and as a whole, I want to fight for everyone and make sure everyone's voice is heard, no matter how far, no matter how small. I want not only Treaty 7 as a whole, but as a First Nation person, I want to be able to have everybody's voice heard, and I want to travel far and touch the souls of many.
Later this week, the 2026 Calgary Stampede Princess will also be crowned. No regrets. Ontario Premier Doug Ford weighs in on his anti-tariff ad. Ford says it did exactly what it was designed to do, even though it resulted in canceled trade talks. And young Canadian immigrants share their experiences with racism, a Calgary podcast series to raise awareness. Prime Minister Mark Carney is in Asia as part of a week-long trip to the region. So far, there are no official plans to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump. Late Thursday, Trump abruptly canceled trade talks with Canada over the Ontario government ads calling out Trump's tariff war in the world. Here's how the Prime Minister responded today.
If they're not ready to do that, as those comments indicate, then we were always going to do these things, to be clear. we're going to first and foremost build our economy, build it with generational investments, and you will see that not just the scale of the ambition, but the speed with which we put that into effect in the budget on November 4th.
Carney will be meeting with the Chinese president as Canada looks to deepen trade relationships with other countries. The Prime Minister is pitching Canada as a reliable trading partner in contrast with the United States. As for that anti-tariff ad, Ontario Premier Doug Ford says it achieved his goal, which was to generate a conversation that wasn't happening south of the border. Ford was asked today if that ad was a mistake.
Not at all. I think that's a good impact. Again, we had over 1 billion impressions. We achieved our goal, and our goal is to make sure that we get a fair deal. Not a one-sided Donald Trump deal, but a fair deal for the people of Ontario and Canada.
Ford says Prime Minister Mark Carney and his chief of staff saw the ad before it was released. He adds it's time for a meeting with the Prime Minister and the rest of the premiers to discuss trade talks. New rules from the Department of Homeland Security mean Canadians will soon have to be photographed when entering and exiting the U.S. The new condition will apply to travelers no matter how they cross, whether it's by land, air, or through a port. It's part of a move to collect biometric data, which was introduced several years ago. No word yet on when this would be rolled out. Canada Border Services Agency officers have stopped a massive shipment of cocaine at the Coots border crossing. The CBSA says 77 kilos of cocaine was found in a commercial truck when it crossed the border from the U.S. on September 25th. That has an estimated street value of $7 million. Once the drugs were discovered, RCMP and Calgary police launched an investigation. The truck driver, 28-year-old Serge Singh Salaria from Calgary, faces a number of charges and appears in court today in Lethbridge. A man accused of scamming a person at Calgary Central Library is now facing an additional charge and is still on the run. Calgary police have laid an additional fraud charge against Man Sok Choi. Investigators say a victim was approached at Calgary Central Library in September, and the two bonded over their shared Korean heritage. The suspect claimed his wallet and ID had been stolen. The victim gave him $1,000 cash and $500 worth of gift cards. The wire transfer from the suspect as reimbursement was fraudulent. Police suspect there may be other victims. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. A garage in northeast Calgary sustained significant damage from fire this morning. It started around 5:30 a.m. on Rundleson Way. Nobody was injured. There's no word on whether the garage or any of the contents are salvageable. The investigation into the cause is underway. And Calgary Fire is still looking into what sparked a blaze in northeast Calgary. It happened just before 2 a.m. Saturday morning on Fulton Drive. The residents in the home and neighbors from a few nearby homes got out safely. The fire department moved quickly to keep the fire from spreading.
This is CTV News Calgary.
This Spring Danielle Becken knows. We look ahead to our 5-day forecast. It's not bad, but it's a little breezy.
Yeah, it's not bad is the best way to look at it because, yeah, this is where we should be for this time of year. We were just very spoiled for much of the month so far. But, yeah, it's breezy, and we definitely notice a difference in comparison to our Friday and even Saturday. Okay, 6 degrees in the city right now. It's 5 in Brooks, 7 in Medicine Hat. Now, Brooks and Medicine Hat did get into the double digits earlier today. Calgary just got to 7 today. Right now, it's 5 in Lethbridge and Milk River and at the freezing mark in Pincher Creek. Okay, the winds have predominantly been out of the northwest today, and our maximum wind gust in the city was around those mid-40s in the city and closer to 60 in Pincher Creek. Lethbridge closer to 60 as well, and closer to 40 in Medicine Hat. Now, we'll calm down for tomorrow. Medicine Hat, Lethbridge, Calgary, we're looking at 20 to 30 km/h gusts tomorrow, but we're still looking at 50 for Pincher Creek, Crow's Nest Pass area tomorrow. km/h. Okay, here's a look at the radar and satellite. Yes, we had some moisture. Again, a lot of this was evaporating before it hit the ground, and in some cases there were some pockets of showers. This is really dying out for the night, and things are clearing out in the overnight hours, setting us up for sunshine for tomorrow. But there is the potential. This is a look at 7:30. There's still the potential of isolated pockets of showers right up until about 8 o'clock tonight. And then here we go. This is the look at tomorrow. all sunshine tomorrow, and then late tomorrow, closer to after the supper hours, 8 p.m., we'll have some clouds start to build in. Wednesday, a bit of a different day. We have this low that's going to develop in BC and shift over into central and northern Alberta, where they're looking at rain, freezing rain, and snowfall as well from this. We're going to get some cloud cover from this. Small chance of an isolated shower on Wednesday in many communities. Pincher Creek crosses past, greater chance of seeing any moisture. Calgary, we only have a 30% chance. And then this is mainly out for Thursday. Thursday is bright, but not for Friday. At least at this point, it doesn't look like it. Halloween Friday. Okay, this is your Action Furnace 5-day forecast. 9 degrees for tomorrow, but as we talked about already earlier in the show, with a wind chill of -5 or even -6 at 8 a.m. So a cold start to the day, getting a little warmer in the afternoon tomorrow compared to today, and the winds will be calmer. More cloud cover on Wednesday, small chance of an isolated shower. 12 degrees is our high, and fast forward to Halloween Friday. At this point, small chance of showers, certainly some cloud cover, and a high of 7 degrees, but I will keep you posted as we get closer, Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. A local nonprofit that works with vulnerable youth has produced a series of podcasts called Children of Immigration. The shows are firsthand accounts by people in their 20s experiencing racism. The producers of the show hope that by sharing these stories, it will start a conversation and raise awareness. Here's Kevin Fleming.
He was born in Calgary, and Ian Velji has roots in Africa and India. The 23-year-old was scrolling through social media and couldn't believe how many racist posts he was finding.
At first, I was angry and frustrated, but as time goes on, you kind of just come to an understanding that unfortunately there are people out there that think this way.
Velji is one of a number of Canadian youth sharing their stories of racism in a podcast called Children of Immigration.
When we talk about, immigration, we talk about what adults are facing. I haven't come across a lot of stories where youth get to tell their perspective.
Arup Rayu is the project lead for the podcasts and says they have youth from across the country taking part, sharing their stories.
As a young person, you're already going through a lot of changes emotionally, mentally, physically, and then immigration gets thrown into all of this. So I wanted to get to their place, understand what their stories were like, and bring that perspective forward.
Sage Carrier is not an immigrant, but part of Calgary's Indigenous community, who still faces racism on a regular basis.
You get racially profiled because of your color, because of how you look and where you come from. And I feel like a lot of that has to do with systemic racism and learning and growing up with that knowledge and having that portrayed as into other people in society itself.
Carrier and the others taking part in the podcasts are hopeful that they're able to start a conversation and raise awareness.
Every day you go to work, you don't realize that it's racism because you don't face it. But once you take a break, you listen to a podcast like this, you reflect, I think that is something that will move you, that will make you a little more sensitive towards these issues and sensitive towards other people as well.
Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Calgary.
Producers say the podcasts are getting good reviews and they're looking at putting together a second season. We've posted a link to Children of Immigration on our website. Health Canada approves a new topical cream for eczema, a new treatment to help those coping with the painful condition. It can even be used for kids as young as 2. And is this the drug Alzheimer's patients have been waiting for? A new treatment that promises to slow the progression is also approved for use in Canada. An expensive new drug that can slow the progression of Alzheimer's disease has been given the green light by Health Canada. While existing medication treat Alzheimer's symptoms, the intravenous drug lecanemab is the first drug authorized in Canada that targets the underlying cause of the disease. Only those in the early stages of the disease would qualify. A Canadian price tag has not been announced, but it costs roughly $26,000 in the U.S. It's not clear yet whether provincial health plans will cover the drug. The province says 20 people have been tested for avian flu after an outbreak at Butterfield Acres. 10 of those referred for testing are children. Earlier this month, there were 9 confirmed cases of avian flu in animals at the Calgary Petting Zoo. Officials will not confirm how many birds have been culled. Butterfield Acres will remain closed until health officials deem it safe to reopen. Anyone who visited the farm between October 6th and 12th is asked to watch for symptoms of avian flu. Of the 20 people tested so far, 18 have come back negative. Results for the other 2 are pending. There's new hope for Albertans struggling with eczema, a common skin condition that can be both painful and emotionally draining. Health Canada has just approved a new cream that doctors say is showing remarkable results for adults and now even in young children. Mark Villani has the details.
More than anything in life, Dinesh Sahi loves his family, but this sudden flare-up of red splotches on his neck started taking away from his happiness.
It was physically and mentally uncomfortable because I cannot sleep night and I cannot do my day-to-day life activities. That was really horrifying.
Sahi was diagnosed with atopic dermatitis, commonly known as eczema, a chronic skin condition that causes redness, dryness, and intense itching.
It was on the whole body, from the face to the legs.
Dermatologists say the condition is often worsened in Alberta because of the province's dry climate and colder winters. But a new topical treatment is coming to the rescue.
That helps me to make my day-to-day life activities normal.
And after using a cream called Opsilura for 8 weeks, the results were astonishing.
Almost 50% or 5 out of 10 patients were clear or almost clear.
Opsilura was given the green light from Health Canada recently, and its approval extended this month from adults only to now children aged 2 and up. Calgary dermatologist Dr. Alim Divani helped lead a clinical trial for 350 kids.
They're constantly itching. They have psychosocial or psychological impacts to the disease. So giving a new novel treatment that is highly effective is a huge step forward.
It's hailed as a new era of non-steroidal treatments for skin conditions, quickly targeting immune signals, driving itch and redness. It's not cheap, costing around $1,000 per tube, but it's covered by insurance in most severe cases. For patients that use it, many say it's life-changing.
Now it makes me very comfortable.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
The Eczema Society of Canada says it hopes this new treatment provides more options to help manage the condition effectively and safely with minimal side effects. Just ahead, you might think it's a lost art, but cursive is cool again. We'll take you to a calligraphy conference in Calgary. That's next. In an increasingly digital world, Calgary is hosting a celebration of an ancient art form going through a recent resurgence. Alicia Philberg checked out the first ever Western Canada Calligraphy Conference.
This is more than just pretty lettering. Calligraphers say the ancient practice is therapeutic.
It is a really lovely way to process your thoughts, to calm yourself down, and to just feel like you're part of something that's bigger than yourself.
This former nurse turned to the centuries-old art form when she was dealing with mental health struggles.
I'm in it for the regulated nervous system, and calligraphy and the slow arts really do bring that to people.
Now she's one of the instructors at the Western Canada Calligraphy Conference. It's the first year for the event, and many people are grateful since they don't want to travel to the United States where the international conference takes part.
I'm so glad that this happened in Calgary.
Nearly 100 people from around the world are participating.
It's the community that comes with it. What a marvelous community it is.
Kind of understand you without having ever met you, because you share that common love for letters and learning.
In a world dominated by computer coding, cursive is curiously gaining popularity.
There's this resurgence of wanting to connect. Just put down your phone and reconnect to, the old ways.
This is not type. We want to celebrate the human hand in action.
Some calligraphers have successful careers instructing and creating designs used by fashion labels, celebrities, and royalty. But that's not the main goal.
I think it's really more about the process. And it's not really about the finished thing that you're going to hang on the wall, that you're going to see in a museum, that you're going to publish in a book.
It's the way these lovingly handcrafted letters provide peace to the artist and weight to the words.
I did a project for the Manitoba Métis Federation in 2023 that went to be signed by the Pope. I'm not sure if that one's any more special than the poem that I did for a dad who was trying to connect with his 8-year-old daughter.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
Anyone interested can attend the whole conference or just a day or two. It runs October 27th to 30th at Hotel Blackfoot. Plans for a 2026 Western Canada Calligraphy Conference are already in the works. It really is an art form. It's beautiful. All right, well, we kick trending off tonight with a family whose game show experience has come full circle.
took 40 years for this story to come full circle. You see, that's my wife on The Price is Right, and this is my mother-in-law on The Price is Right, and they both played for a brand new car.
A new car! Okay, so Jake tells the story of how his mother-in-law was on the game show Price is Right while pregnant with his wife, and then 40 years later, his wife is chosen to also be on the show. Now, his mother-in-law was just a putt shy of winning a car. Oh. However, his wife was able to guess the correct number and win a brand new car. And believe it or not, same make of car. Different model, same make.
That is so cool.
Wow. That's pretty unusual.
And that guy's got the voice to do the voiceover.
That's right, he does, yeah. Well, many people just throw on a pair of sweats to run to the grocery store. In this case, shopping has never looked so good.
Quem me vinga da mandinga figa de guiné, mas o de fé do meu axé não vou dizer quem é. Quem me vinga da mandinga figa de guiné.
Cute little Hannah is too small to do any of the shopping herself, so she wears it in her hair. She's got all sorts of cute little hair clips. They change from every trip to trip, an assortment of fruits, a variety of veggies, delicious pastries, dessert. I think I saw some sushi in there.
What is she going to think about that later in life?
Yeah.
I mean.
It's pretty cute, though. I don't know where her mom is finding all these cute hair clips.
No idea, right?
The little basket.
I like the basket.
I know, that's cute. Well, the key to safe driving is, of course, keep your eyes on the road. But this driver in Oklahoma also had to keep his eyes on the sky. All right, just watch. This driver was almost hit head-on by a military warplane. What? Making an emergency landing. The dash cam video shows that driver swerving at the last second. The aircraft was making a low-slung landing. The National Guard light-wing aircraft crash-landed almost immediately after that, striking 2 power poles and sparking a grass fire in a field. The flames were quickly extinguished. The 2 people on board the craft reportedly walked away without injury.
Wow.
That would give you a heart attack.
Wow. Lives, right? Ooh.
Wow.
I mean, but look how straight they still drove.
I know.
That's pretty good.
We're fine. Well, still to come, major cuts at Amazon. Tens of thousands of jobs reportedly on the chopping block. We have the details ahead in our business report.
Skywatch weather camera, and the winds are starting to somewhat calm down. It will calm down in the next hour or two. And then tomorrow the winds are calmer, slightly warmer. Don't expect much warmer. And it definitely won't be warmer in the morning. We have wind chill to talk about. All right, it's 6 degrees in the city at the moment, 5 in Lethbridge and Milk River, 7 in Medicine Hat, and only at the freezing mark in Pincher Creek. A little bit going on right now. We have a big low up in central and northern Alberta starting to make its way into Saskatchewan, but that's providing a little bit of instability to the far south here. So there's a couple isolated pockets of showers, but those are fizzling out too for the night. So things are starting to clear out, calm down. Not warm up much, as you can see. This is your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fixed right or it's free. So we have gusts up to 50 kilometers per hour in the city, possible for another hour or two. Overnight, those should calm down. But we are looking at wind chill. It will still be a little breezy and will dip below the freezing mark. So in the morning, -1 is the base temperature, but feeling more like -5, -6 at 7, 8 a.m. Lots of sunshine tomorrow, a high of 9, and less wind, with winds gusting up to 30 kilometers per hour rather than 50. All right, 7 degrees, Kamloops, Salmon Arm, good chance of showers. Edmonton, lots of sunshine. Check out the snowflakes possible in Fort McMurray for tomorrow from that low that I just showed you. 9 degrees in Calgary, 10 in Drumheller tomorrow. Lots of sunshine in the far south, but still windy in Crow's Nest Pass, Pincher Creek. There, they're looking at gusts 50, 60 kilometers per hour. Where Lethbridge and Medicine Hat, Calgary, Brooks, we're looking at 30 kilometers per hour. Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. Let's return to our breaking news now. The president of the Alberta Teachers Association is now reacting to the introduction of back-to-work legislation. He spoke on the steps of the legislature shortly after the bill was introduced.
What you saw in there today was a travesty of our legislature. It's a travesty to our democracy. They're ramming through this bill in one evening so that they can put forward what they want to see. But they are not willing to have any further speculation around how to address the issues.
Schilling says it will take time for the ATA to analyze the bill, and then it will decide its next steps after that. Food Banks Canada's 2025 hunger count shows the rising cost of living is pushing more Canadians toward food insecurity in Alberta. In Alberta alone, monthly visits were up 134% this year compared to 2019. The Calgary Food Bank says it used to distribute 250 food hampers a day in 2019. Now it's around 800. Organizers of the Forever Canadian petition will be dropping off boxes of signatures tomorrow. The forms are filled with names of Albertans who support remaining in Canada. The grassroots movement has had 90 days to collect just under 300,000 signatures. Alberta's chief electoral officer has a month now to certify the results. Hundreds of volunteers were out along Memorial Drive Saturday to assemble this year's Field of Crosses display.
When you see the 3,700 crosses here in the Field of Crosses lined up row on row, you realize that we're here to do something special. And our mission, of course, is to make sure that we never forget the men and women who have fallen from southern Alberta in the pursuit of peace and freedom in Canada and elsewhere in the world.
The sunrise and sunset ceremonies begin November 1st. A BC man who fought off a grizzly bear he was hunting earlier this month has now died. 63-year-old Joe Pendry was a former boxer who punched and even bit the bear after it charged him. He survived the attack then, but suffered serious injuries. His wife says he died from what doctors believe was a blood clot. A dead grizzly was found in the area days later. Conservation officers believe it was the one responsible for the attack on Pendry. On Wednesday, Amazon is expected to report earnings, but before that, the tech giant may be cutting its workforce. BNN Bloomberg's Marla Fernandez has more.
There is a report tonight that Amazon will be cutting 30,000 jobs and that it starts tomorrow. Reuters is reporting management jobs are being slashed, and the cut represents about 10% of Amazon's corporate staff. The last time Amazon cut this deep was in late 2022 and early 2023, when it shed 27,000 jobs. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up a fraction to 71.48. West Texas Intermediate crude is up to 61.58. Western Canadian Select is down 27 cents to 48.72. And the TSX lost 77 points today to end the day at 30,275. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marla Fernandez.
A local business is working to ensure children in need have a Halloween costume. The Astra Group has donated 150 costumes to Radiance Family Society, an organization dedicated to helping families fleeing domestic violence. Astra says most of the costumes are donated by their staff, but the general public pitches in too. It began this initiative 4 years ago after finding many parents struggling to afford day-to-day necessities, let alone giving their kids the extras.
And if we can make it easier by simply removing one of those decisions, giving something to help out a little bit, put smiles on the kids' faces and ensure they don't feel left out, it's incredibly rewarding.
We are so grateful at Radiance to have Astra Group providing us not only what we asked for, but well over and above. And all that means is we get to reach more kids.
Since its inception, Astra has donated 500 costumes to various charities. Breathing a sigh of relief. Just ahead, the Flames have finally broken their 8-game losing streak. Glenn has those details for us next. Almost 1,100 Calgarians and their dogs donned their best costumes for the Dash of Doom. This is the 10th year for the run, which this year took over North Glenmore Park. All the money raised from the event goes toward ARCS, a grassroots organization which helps homeless pets find their forever home. Over the last 10 years, the Dash of Doom has raised almost $80,000 for the organization. The Calgary Flames are off to the worst start in team history. Glenn is back with us. And Glenn, the good news is they've snapped their 8-game winless streak.
Tara, it's certainly been a tough stretch to start this season. But last night against the New York Rangers, the Flames played one of their best games of the season, and now they can put that winless streak behind them. Good start for the Flames in this game, just 148 in. Nice give and go between Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau. Kadri's going to finish it off, makes it a 1-0 game. And they add to that lead midway through the first. Kadri to Morgan Frost, back to Kevin Ball at the point, and he will blast this one past Igor Shesterkin. Flames would lead 2-1 after one period. They get their 2-goal lead after back in the second. Nice play here by Connor Zeri. Gets around the defenseman in front to Yegor Sharangovich. That's his first of the season. Flames up 3-1 after 2 periods. And they put this game away in the third. They're shorthanded, but they go in on a 2-on-1 break. Blake Coleman to Michael Backlund. Back to Coleman. Nice goal there, shorthanded. They beat the Rangers 5-1. And after the game, everyone was breathing a huge sigh of relief.
I would just say it's a weight off our shoulders. I think it's been a tough stretch for us. We've had games where we've done the right thing and we haven't come up with the result.
It feels good. It feels good to get a win. Doesn't mean much if you can't build on it, but it feels good today.
No, this is a building block in the right direction. We played a pretty solid full game here at home, and that's what our fans deserve, and glad we were able to come out with a big W there.
There is a little bit of relief. I mean, now it's an opportunity for the guys just to catch their breath and now just go play the game.
And the Flames now hit the road for 4 games. They're in Toronto to face the Leafs tomorrow night. Then they take on Ottawa Thursday, and then it's back-to-back against Nashville and Philadelphia on Saturday and Sunday. Calgary Stampeders now know who they'll face in the playoffs. The Stamps did their part on Friday night as they beat the Edmonton Elks to give them a shot at second place in the West and hosting the West semifinal. But the BC Lions had other things in mind. They would come back to beat the Saskatchewan Roughriders 27-21 on Saturday. And with that victory, they finish in second place. So the Stamps travel to Vancouver to take on the Lions in the West semifinal. Kickoff for that game a little after 3:30 on Saturday afternoon. Cavalry FC is off to Hamilton this weekend to take on Forge United in a semifinal matchup. Didn't take the Cavalry long to get on the board against York, 8th minute. Some nifty footwork by Ali Musi, and he changes his speed and direction and rifles it home for the game's first goal. Great start for Cavalry. Just 9 minutes after that, Cavalry back for more. York gets a little sloppy with the ball, and Tobias Warchevsky makes them pay as he fires it home. Dream start, 2-0, just 17 minutes into the game. Now second half, Cavalry leading 2-1, 47th minute. Gauthier and Tignay. He takes this one to the net, feeds in front. It's an own goal by Luke Singh. Cavalry with 3-1 lead at that point. Warchevsky will put it out of reach in the second half later in the game. Warchevsky loves the playoffs, doesn't he? Makes it a 4-1 game at that point, and that was all from Atco Field. The rivalries, it continues between Cavalry and Forge, and we have seen some great matches between those two clubs. Game 3, Jays-Dodgers. Dodgers up 1-0 in the third inning.
Good stuff. Thank you, Glenn. Let's give final word to Danielle as we take a peek at our forecast.
All right. Well, be prepared for a wind chill tomorrow morning. If you're out going to work, going to, well, not school, but walking the dogs, -5, -6 is what it will feel like at 7 and 8 a.m. So it's been a while since we've had that. And then we get up to a 9 in the afternoon as our high. So a little bit warmer in the afternoon compared to today, and calmer winds, lots of sunshine, more clouds on Wednesday, small chance of showers. And Friday looks very similar to today, a high of 7. Mainly cloudy skies for Halloween Friday. I'll keep you posted as we get closer, of course. Weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style, budget, and Alberta's climate. And Wayne Burnt sent this one in, Carbon Park, last week, I believe. Pretty stunning.
Yes, that is a window on a perfect fall day. Thanks for your company tonight. Have a terrific evening. We'll see you again tomorrow.